are not necessarily the views and opinions of WHPS, its affiliates, management, or sponsors.
It's that time, y'all. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. Yeah, it's straight talk with Valerie. Come on. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. Yeah, it's straight talk with Valerie. Come on. It's straight talk with Valerie. It's straight talk with Valerie. Come on. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. It's straight talk with Valerie. Come on. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. It's straight talk with Valerie. Come on. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. It's straight talk with Valerie. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. It's straight talk with Valerie. Come on. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. It's straight talk with Valerie. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. It's straight talk with Valerie. Come on.
What's happening? What's happening, Detroit, and everyone around the country listening in? You are tuned into the real black coffee, no sugar, no cream. And why can't I say the real? Because nobody else had it filed in the state of Michigan. So I don't care how many black coffees it was before this one, you didn't have your paperwork in order. So this is the real black coffee, no sugar, no cream, the official black coffee, no sugar, no cream. And guess what? I have two guests that I adore and admire in the studio with me. Why? Because they are community people. And you know, everything I do is powered by the people. So I have some Highland Parkers in the house with me. I have Alexis Ramsey. Say what's up to my audience, Alexis.
What's up?
All right. And if you don't know Supa Emcee, now you know.
Yo, what up, H pillar baby, H pillar baby.
So, you know, what we're going to talk about today is healing the hood. We have a lot of problems that go on in our communities, a whole lot of them. But there's one in particular, the white man started the problem, but it's our problem to solve, and that's drugs.
For sure.
We didn't have the wherewithal, planes, boats, or anything else to bring drugs into our communities.
That's right.
We didn't have the resources. We didn't have the money. And even if we look at it with the marijuana laws, oh yeah, they let us have a mom and pop shop for that first provisional license, keyword provisional. But then the next time when it was time to renew it, the game changed because they never want us to get ahead. They never want a repeat of Black Wall Street. That cannot happen as far as white America, spelled AMERIKKA,
Sure, right.
is concerned. So since white America started the problem, and it's our problem to solve, what do you think we should do about that? Let me start with Supa. Supa, what do you think we should do to solve the problem of drugs in our community?
I mean, we should should stop villainizing drug users. You know what I'm saying? Because as of today, we knew it was a problem then. You know what I'm saying? But now they done acclimated into, now it's a part of, you know, health and mental health and all of that. So now it's a big thing. But it was a big thing when we was coming up. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just telling you that from a street eyes view. You know what I'm saying? We all come from those areas. You know what I'm saying? And we was able to see it all our lives, how drugs affected the people that we love, people outside of our homes, people down the street from us, our community, the whole neighborhood. And we saw how, you know, in these situations, You know what I'm saying? We was pressed. It was something that was pressed on us, like how soul food came out. You know what I'm saying? Like the actual food, soul food, not the movie.
Not the movie. The
Soul food came
Pig
from
ears.
Right. Soul food came from us taking slop and garbage that they fed us and gave us and turning it into some delightful meals. You know what I'm saying? We added our soul to it, even though we was eating garbage. So in the same thing, when I look at the epidemic of crack or drug use in the community, we took something that was sent and orchestrated to kill us, and then we turned it into something like, that's where you had the dealers, back in the day, the dealers that I knew in the hood, they took care of the hood. They not the dealers of today that want to beat down the hood, beat up grandma, tell the old lady who was watching everybody on the block to go back and like stupid stuff like that. Those hustlers of that yesteryear, they were doing wrong. They knew they was doing wrong. They knew they was polluting the community with the dope. But in tune, they still looked out and took care of the community. And I know some hustlers that paid bills of people and kept people's lights and gas and stuff on all while they was doing that. But the whole thing is, this whole epidemic of drugs in our community was sent here to kill us. You know what I'm saying? And we kind of crawled out of it. We kind of made good things, but it's like a spider web. It's necessary evils, and it's good and on top of necessary evils on a spider web. It's good over here, so you can't cut the entire spider web down because everything's gonna fall. But the fact that the government and all of these agencies and these people are starting to look at this as a pain, a universal pain, not just a ghetto black person pain. It's a universal pain because at first, it was all of us because that's where they dumped it at in the hood. But now it seeped out into the suburbs. It seeped out into these areas where, they didn't think that drug use would be. But come on, you know what I'm saying? So I just think that what you do behind this radio and the thoughts and ideas that we've been sharing, you know what I'm saying? This is something that should have been put into active years ago. But until it affected the other mass of people that it affected, now we have, like you said, the Narcan. Now we have all these different things. Now we got the government talking about it and trying to facilitate the thing when this stuff been killing us for years. So, I think that it's good. I think that it's a good idea to do that thing. And I think that they should stop vilifying people for, certain things that life breaks in them that they choose to, uplift themselves in a bad way, because that's what people do. Certain people, they deal with bad things in their life, and the only thing that they have to turn to is drugs and alcohol and things. Absolutely. Because for that 1 second of high or, inebriated or whatever they feel away from their trauma that they're about to return to once the drug is taken its toll and done what it's done. So, I think everything that you're doing and everything that the government should have been doing, they late as hell. So, I get it. But then to me, when I look at stuff like that, they're only doing it because somewhere down the line, there's a kickback, there's some profit for them. You know what I'm saying? It ain't coming from a wholesome place of we really want to do that. Like you started the conversation. We didn't bring this dope over here. We just had to deal with it and deal with it. So,
Alexis,
yes, ma'am.
What's your take on it? What should we do about the drugs in our community? How you feel about the situation that's going on?
Well, I'm disgusted, first of all, with the entire situation of how, as Supa was saying, how they put these drugs into our community, and until it started affecting, I'm gonna just say it, the white people, this was not a conversation.
You can say it. This black coffee, no sugar, no cream, unfiltered.
Okay,
black, strong,
say
unfiltered.
Okay.
Say what you got to say. You ain't got to be all politically correct or nothing. Just
hey, thank you for that.
I said HP in the house.
There you go.
We here with RJ too, so we be trying to be respectful. I got Alexis here.
HP in the house.
You here? I'm trying to be respectful. I would have let it fly. Chase off.
Well, we don't want to cross the FCC lines, but hey, HP is in the house. Bring it. Let's go.
Go ahead, Lex,
but
my
but seriously, when it started to affect the white people, all of a sudden now you have all these different drug programs. Now all of a sudden it's a health issue, it's a mental health issue. Now all of a sudden, the work you're trying to do now is you're trying to bring clean supplies to our community. And so that we're not dying of AIDS, we're not dying of hepatitis, we're not dying of these diseases that we know could have been prevented years ago.
Right.
So my thing is that anyone who's not in support of bringing this to the community, I think is something wrong with you. Because another thing we do in the black community is instead of lifting each other up, we look down on one another. Right. Don't understand. Everybody in their family has a crackhead in their family.
1,000.
A dope fiend, a heroin
Real.
addict.
1,000.
And at the end of the day, if my loved one can go somewhere and get a clean supply of needles, can get a clean crack pipe, can get a clean spoon or whatever it is that they're using for their drug of choice, I want them to be able to have that and provide that for them. You know what I mean? Like, it's not for us to look down on those people. It's for us to lift those people up. Because understand, I don't think anybody is going to go and put a needle in their arm. No. I don't think anybody is going up to smoke a crack pipe just out of nowhere. There is some pain there.
Yes.
There is some devastation that has happened.
Yes.
There is something that has happened to that we may not know that made them crack, like you said.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying? There's a mental health issue there.
Right.
All of us are only 1 second away from being that person. So there's no way for any of us to look down on anybody who has a drug issue.
You better
We
say
got to
it.
figure out a way of how can we help them? How can we heal them? And guess what? If that's what you choose to do in your life for the rest of your life, how do I support you in what you do? But make sure that you're healthy while doing it.
Yes, you spot on, because that's what harm reduction is about. But for those of you who are listening and you're of the hip hop genre, we're going to play a song, The Black Watch
Let's go.
by Supa Emcee.
There you
And
go.
he's going to break all of what we just said about our communities down to you lyrically. Let it go, Marquise.
Currently. So stopping the spread of this virus is really the most important tool that we have right now to keep our communities safe.
Watch out. Watch out. Yeah.
Welcome to the new era of futuristic slaves, computer junkies, microchips, death by plague, 5G towers, radiation in waves, bioterrorism, quarantine, the whole world's afraid. They speak of martial law, vaccine, the cure, can destroy the Constitution for your safety we procure. Military, police, tanks, Hummers in the street, till the famine hit the block, now everybody wanna eat. Smell the riot in the heat, people dying just to breathe. This the science, they alliance, the triumph to deceive. False information, social media reads. If you question what they stressing, it's a conspiracy theory. History shows you've been exposed to these same tactics. Strategic assault by the legion, satanic. The business is evil, so it's the practice. They two-face the masses, and you can see the pattern. They leave them less aggressive and more passive. So if you caught up in your belongings, won't stand to the challenge. Lesser of the two, but we out of balance. What's a protest when you scared of the violence? Man, this ain't nothing but some goddamn population control. You motherfuckers is trying to kill us.
Watch out. They're hating on the color of our skin. What are we gonna do? Watch out. Gotta take action till it ends. What are we gonna do? Watch out. They're trying to take freedom from you. What are we gonna do? Watch out. They're trying to take life from you. What are we gonna do?
Corporate conquers in the land of the consumers. The buyers a trick by cheap promotion and corny music. Cash out, you bought into the illusion. The taxpayers working under a tariff. They'll cut your health care before they fire a sheriff. Low wages, a half, 9 to 5 was living the metal. Robbing niggas, shooting fish in the barrel. In a corrupt, bankrupt city filled with disease, hysteria. If that ain't Revelations, United Nations, when they swear on the Bible, don't believe shit they saying. The new world order is an order of Seth. Keeping chaplains on deck and let the pages reflect. As the God of man corrects what these devils profess. But the truth is the proof in these millions of deaths. Under they watch, we the last they help. It's a survival of the fittest, arrival of their interests. They homicidal vision, the promise of better living. You the mark of the beast, you property of they system. Either worship they demons and become a citizen and die in a prison like Leviticus. The God figures.
Watch out. They're hating on the color of our skin. What are we gonna do? Watch out. Gotta take action till it ends. What are we gonna do? Watch out. They're trying to take freedom from you. What are we gonna do? Watch out. They're
trying to take life from you. What are we gonna do?
God bless all the essentials and the healthcare workers. It took a pandemic for them to notice you on the front line every day, risking your life for all of us. God bless George Floyd's family.
So we were listening to the Black Watch by Highland Park's own Supa Emcee, and he's in the house with us right now.
Yes, thank you.
And that was a great lyrical depiction of how we need to watch what's going on in our communities, especially when it comes to the government giving us something. But what I would like to say is, I'm glad that God put on their hearts for them to reach out to me. Mm-hmm. I've had my nonprofit for 27 years, and I never got a call from the government. Mm-hmm. So when I got one, I was like, it's time. Mm-hmm. It's time. And let's get in the trenches, and let's get it done.
Absolutely.
So harm reduction is exactly what you explained, Alexis. It is keeping individuals who use drugs safe and out of harm's way.
Sword.
Also, sex workers. There are people who have survival sex or just choose to have sex frequently and promiscuously or as a service. Whatever it is, if you choose to get high, you shouldn't have to die.
There you go.
Yo.
Say that.
Wow.
Say that one more time.
Say that one
If
more
you
time.
choose to get high, you shouldn't have to die. Because, see, we understand the trauma and everything else that has happened through our childhoods that we had to cope with. And it's through the grace of God that if I wasn't afraid of needles, I probably would shoot up some heroin. Some of the stuff I've been through.
Yo, hey, that's
Talk about it.
Some of the stuff I've been through. So we got to be real and stop trying to act like you haven't been through nothing and share your testimony with people, because that's what it's for. If God brought you through, you only ain't got to talk about he blessed you with a house. He blessed you with a car. He blessed your face out of that toilet when you was too drunk. And you promised him, if I get my face out this toilet, I ain't going to drink no more. But the next time you did. And it was okay because he showed you grace and mercy. And it's the same thing that these other people need. And stop trying to preach sobriety. They're not going to stop getting high until they ready.
Real talk.
That's right.
Period.
Real talk.
But until that time, we can give them some support. You know, it's the same thing for the Christians that's on the line.
Speak to them.
Okay.
Talk to them.
Let me talk to you for a minute, because see, when Soup talked about soul food, we love that. We love some bacon and some pig ears and some hog maws and all of that. And guess what? They gave us a pill for our blood pressure, and they gave us a pill for our cholesterol. And because you have that pill, when you go to the repast at the church,
1,000.
you might go ahead and have a pork chop, because you know that you got that pill to back you up.
1,000.
Harm reduction is no different. When you get in your car and you put your seatbelt on, you are practicing harm reduction.
Real talk. Yo, me, I almost went through the windshield. I should have had a seatbelt on.
You should have had, so you can speak to it from a real life
From a
testimony.
real perspective.
You practice harm reduction when you get in your car and you put your seatbelt on. So anything that we can do ahead of time to keep us from dying is harm reduction. So Marquise, I want you to play the harm reduction overview, and then we're going to break down what harm reduction really is and what we want to present. SOAR's harm reduction program recognizes that there are many stages of change, and we can support people at any stage where they are at. Harm reduction is an evidence-based public health approach that uses practical strategies to reduce the harmful consequences associated with certain high-risk behaviors. With the aim of meeting people where they are, SOAR provides a wide array of harm reduction services and support, including community and peer education, client advocacy, and mobile outreach.
Boots on the ground. We coming for your boots on the ground. coming for your boots on the ground. We're here for your boots on the ground. We're here for your boots on the ground. We heal for your boots on the ground. We deal for your boots on the ground. We real for your boots on the ground. We're here for you.
Each week, the Boots on the Ground outreach team drives and visits predetermined areas where sex workers and those who use drugs are usually based. The outreach team engages with the client and provides the client with a brief survey to see what services they are in need of. If the client chooses to partake in our services, they are then enrolled into the program. Their enrollment is quick and simple. The client is asked 3 questions: the first initial of their first name, the month of their birth, and the first initial of their mother's first name. No other identifiable information is requested to enroll the client in the program and create their harm reduction program identification card. The outreach team asks the client what supplies or needs they have and provides them with syringes, condoms, and other harm reduction materials. SOAR's Boots on the Ground team also provides referrals and linkages to health and social services, case management, and counseling. SOAR's Boots on the Ground outreach has a faith in harm reduction component. Called to Care Harm Reduction Ministries is a place where you can show up and exist as you are. There's no expectation for anyone to be anything other than themselves. This space offers spiritual inspiration in various forms for the benefit and uplifting of one's soul. We are not in the business of forcing transformation on anyone. Rather, we will foster an environment that allows transformation to take place. Holistically helping others is our mission. SOAR's outreach and harm reduction services are funded through a grant from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. As an organization, SOAR is continuing to grow and is working to expand and go beyond their outreach services by establishing a center which will offer other harm reduction services on site. SOAR's harm reduction program will provide a strong voice that represents the needs and priorities of people who use drugs. We will be a respected partner with our stakeholders and an advocate for consumers. We are a strong and responsive organization accountable to our funders, the community, and our clients, and are able to demonstrate our commitment to providing quality, evidence-based harm reduction services. So, you saw that overview of the harm reduction program. But before the program can be righteously and respectfully instituted, some ordinances, some laws have to be changed.
Absolutely.
So, I went to my hometown, the city of Inkster, and we instituted the program last year. I talked to the mayor, I talked to the police chief, we had a town hall, and they all agreed that it was a good program and it was structured. Because it's not like we on the ice cream truck running out like it's the Mardi Gras just throwing needles out the damn window, or whatever. It's a structured program where we go to places, we do pull up and have permission to pull up at places where we know people who use drugs will frequent or congregate. We don't get into their full governmental information and background unless they want to do an intake and get additional services, because we are now adding HIV and Hep C testing.
Oh, perfect.
So what we do, once we get the ordinance passed, we get the language from the state. This project is in conjunction with the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. That's our sponsor. And so we ask them what their first name is, the 2-digit month of their birth, what is their mother's first initial, and then how do they identify sexually.
Okay.
That becomes their code. So for me, it would be V09JF.
Okay.
The reason why we do that is because, you know, we always have corruption in our police departments. And if the police has sanctioned this and said that this program is good and that anybody that is a part of the program enrolled, that they won't prosecute them. And so if they get caught and they lost their card and they can say, hey, well, I'm a part of the SOAR program, and they can be like, yeah, sure. Like, no, ask them these questions. And when they answer them questions, we can pull them right up in our database and say, yep.
Right.
You know, they're
Absolutely.
here without them fearing giving all their government information like it's some type of scheme or setup, because people really didn't believe we was doing this. Like, nah, they the police. They trying to bust us on the low.
Sting.
Like,
Undercover sting.
oh yeah, they really thought we were a sting. And I'm like, no, I work with the police, but in your favor. Like, I do
Right.
have permission to do this, but they didn't even believe us at first. And I'm in my hometown, but see, I'm not a part of that culture.
Exactly.
The drug culture is not a part of my culture, and I truly believe in nothing for them without them. So I had to go find some allies that get high.
Hey, when you said that, nothing for them without them.
Yes.
Yes.
Yo, I mean, you gotta think about it, like, in a, like, not condemning or condoning, right? Not condemning. I'm not saying it's bad, and I'm not riding for it either. It's just what it is. The whole transaction between Connect, dope dealer, street masses. I mean, a lot of that income fueled the city. A lot of that income fueled those white shops, those white stores, those white communities. You know what I'm saying? Because where was the big ballers going to after they got they bread? To buy houses out the way, right? So we talking about the spider web again.
Okay.
Continue. I'm sorry.
But even on a small scale, though, no, you're onto something.
you're
Because
onto
even on
something.
a small scale, the baller don't want his girl looking like a scrub, so he gonna throw her off a band or two, you know, to go to the mall
Somerset.
or Macy's or Somerset, and she gonna buy them bundles from Lil Ling's
Yeah.
and get their hair done, you know, and all of that. So yes, that money was fueling, you know, the economy.
Absolutely.
And absolutely.
and
so.
some of the police's pockets too. Let's talk
More
about
yeah,
the
it.
police
Let's talk
pockets than anybody else. How
Yeah,
about
let's
that?
talk about it. I
So-
mean, I know people, like, just growing up in the hood. I know for dealing with my own stuff. You know what I'm saying? I know, you know, certain things that happen. Like I done seen situations where the police come and they make everybody get down on the ground and do push-ups in the rain, and they run all the money from them, and then they leave them with the dope, and then, hey, you know, get the bread up, we'll be back. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy how all of this, how this pie is sliced, but then at the end of the day, you got the black community paying the totality of all of this chaos, because the users are black. They're going to jail for using. Then you got the brothers that's selling it to them. They're going to jail for being possession of it. You know what I'm saying? And being distributors of it. But after you get out of that circle of the pie, you're not getting nobody arrested. These plane people ain't getting arrested. These boat people ain't getting arrested. And then you got to understand, to get it through customs, that's an army of people you got to pay to get all of that stuff. You bringing in 2 million pounds of heroin or 2 million pounds of cocaine, and it's supposed to be distributed through the whole U.S. Come on, that's about 100 people that's going past before it even get to the hood, or more, 1,000. So at the same time, the people that is saying we don't want this here and we're going to lock you up and arrest you for it, it's the same people that is helping it flow through the community.
Well, you know, it's interesting you said that, Sup, because, you know, a lot of people, when it comes to the harm reduction program, not in my backyard. I don't know why, because it's your neighbor. No, not in your backyard, next door.
Right.
That's
Absolutely.
where they're getting high. They don't have to look like it. It's some people that making $100,000 a year, riding real nice,
Oh, absolutely.
and get high and shoot heroin.
For sure.
I mean,
So
I look at Highland Park though. You know, we have a methadone clinic right here in
Right,
Highland
right,
Park,
right,
right
okay.
here on Hamilton. So, if anything, we know those people and why they're coming to the methadone clinic, right? Because they're seeking what they may not be able to get that morning or that evening. So if any city wants to take on something like this, it should be Highland Park. We need this here. We need those
Real
people who
talk.
are attending that particular facility down there on Hamilton to have clean tools and materials so they're not going back and infecting their neighbor or their loved one. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, my thing is teach one, reach one, right? And so the more people we're able to reach, and then you don't have to worry about grandma getting knocked over the side of the head,
Right,
Because
they getting what they need.
because they get what they need.
Your house be
right,
broken, too.
exactly.
Car
You don't
being
have to
missing.
worry about any of that stuff because those tools cost money as well. They can't just go. You know, they can't buy the crack and the heroin without having the proper clean materials that they need in order to get high.
Right.
So I think not only is it harm reduction when it comes to their livelihood, but it's harm reduction when it comes to our community.
Real talk.
Because now you're cutting down that crime base.
For sure.
right?
Because like what you said, if like growing up around and you see that.
We've been in the hood.
Right.
Let's speak
The
it.
fiends can't get what they need. They in somebody's house stealing their TV.
Absolutely.
They in somebody's house getting a DVD player. Your car is missing. Something around your house is gone. You feel me? So they can get what they need. And if if y'all providing this type of haven where they can come and be safe and be harmless to the community, I'm all for it. And it's a wonderful thing. And bless you, sister, for the idea. And I wish you would have came in the past and we would be talking about the celebrated of what had happened from then to now. But you here now, and I bless you, and you know you was
Ride or
on
die.
point with it.
Well,
Like,
thank you. I do want to add this, though, because for our listeners who are unfamiliar with the harm reduction program, when we come on these regular intervals, we do ask them, hey, do you have any veins that are infected or blew out? We give them bacitration ointment. We ask them, when the last time have you been to the ER? Do you want to go to treatment? Do you want? We make those referrals if it's something that they want. When is the last time you've been tested for HIV? And we used to have to refer them somewhere else. So now we're opening up a HIV Hep C testing center in the Western Wayne Family Health Center in Inkster, but it would be nice to have maybe a partner in Highland Park where they
yes.
can go and get tested. See, a lot of things people don't utilize because of the barriers and because of the racism and the stigma that goes along with it. We surveyed 500 people and asked, because you know they put those things, the methadone clinics and the DHS and the Social Security and all of that in our communities, right?
absolutely.
And then they're like, we're not getting the outcomes. People are not coming.
Not taking
You
advantage.
know, and it's like too many barriers and they don't trust you.
Right.
And I'm gonna say this: at our methadone clinic, it's not us really taking advantage of it. Okay,
Yeah.
it's other communities that drive all the way here to Little Highland Park to get what they need, and they leaving out of here. So
That-
you know, when it's all said and done, just real quick, so we got to go to the hood. We got to hit those streets. We all know where they hang out at. You know
Right.
what I mean? We know where they live. We know what alleys they may be in.
Right.
And that's how we're going to have to reach our people today, by going to them and saying, "Hey, I'm not. What do you call it? The feds? Yeah,
it's
I'm
not a
not the
sting.
popos, right?
Right.
But I'm here to help you, and I'm here to assist you, and not shame you. And that's the biggest thing right now, is not shaming our people, because they already feel some type of way about themselves.
They do.
Right.
They do.
To do it, to even do the stuff.
They're already hurting, right?
Right.
So how can I, as a person who call myself a Christian, a person who says that I love God, you know what I mean? Like, I have to learn to love my neighbor the same. I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to look down on you. I'm here to love you, uplift you, and figure out a way of how can we help you.
Right.
So-
That's like what V was saying, like when she was talking, because I happen to been working with V and them, you know what I'm saying, SOAR, and I shot a documentary on
Oh,
them,
wow,
you know
okay.
what I'm saying, in the work that they do. Like, to me, it's like I sitting there talking to Valerie and she's saying what SOAR do, but then actually sitting there and watching them talk about how they run and stuff, and the compassion that they have about the business that they're in, and then being on set with Pastor Mike and watching him preach to the people out there and tell them, give them the word of God while they're giving the helps of this harm reduction. And it's a wonderful thing. And like Val was saying, I don't understand why people from Highland Park is dealing with the same thing. Like you said, people from other communities come here to use our facility for what they need, but then other people from Highland Park, they leave Highland Park and go to other places to use their facilities, and then like V was saying, they come back to the hood and the police is arresting them, you know what I'm saying, for what the contraband that they had. And like she was saying, they should lift that law or whatever, you know, so that it shouldn't be labeled as contraband. It should be labeled as medical supplies, you know what I'm saying, for those people that need that. And then for them officers that know that and are aware of that, instead of vilifying the drug users and throwing them in jail so they could get a couple of dollars for, you know what I'm saying? That whole situation is whack to me. And that's why I totally support what Valerie is doing, because like I grew up around dope. I grew up around crackhead. I done seen people tell lies and stories of undreamt of fantasies to obtain whatever dope.
Oh, you better need it.
I'm talking about. I'm looking at people that done said, "Yo, my mama just died. Can y'all blah blah blah?" And then get what they get. Now we sending salutations and stuff over there to their family. Call over there and see if Miss such such. And the mama picked the phone up like, "Hey, what y'all doing? Huh?" Oh, okay. Wow. You know what I'm saying? So to alleviate all of that and all of the stigma, right? In the play of that, this organization and what y'all doing to help people in that sorrow, you know what I'm saying, is a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
And you know, I'm glad you brought up the faith and harm reduction component, because we went to a lot of churches to try to partner in Inkster, and some didn't even call back. Others wanted to know what was in it for them. And it was just a mess.
And these are what? Churches.
So
They
I went
always want to know
home.
what's in it.
I was so disturbed. And I went home. I talked to Trisha, who was my social worker and my program director, and I was like, wow, this is just so disheartening to continue to have these conversations of people who's supposed to be helping. And I woke up the next day and God made it so plain. He said, they're not willing to work with you because I called you to care.
Say that.
And that's why the ministry is called to Care. And that is, I got my paperwork on that too. So if you don't take nothing else from this conversation, don't call yourself having no business with no damn paperwork.
Hello.
Because paper works.
Exactly.
There you
So
go.
we have called to Care ministry, and he's absolutely right. So if we are out from, let's say 4 to 6, from 4 to 5, we had a boom box, you know, we put up the tent and we're doing our thing. If we have snacks to pass out or whatever, toiletries, toothbrush, condoms, whatever we had to pass out, you know, and then, but at that 5 o'clock hour, it all changes from secular to spiritual. And then that's when we just do the praise and worship. And we have had participants. There's some videos on the YouTube channel. And you can look. This lady was standing out there and was one of our participants. And she said, I want to sing. And baby, when I tell you, she sang that song. And still got her supplies, got signed up, and went on about her business, because we want them to know you are loved.
Absolutely.
You are not forgotten. You are still a child of God. And I just think it is an atrocity. I feel like churches who are in the community, but the community is not in the church, or they're not helping the church, they should have their 501c3 revoked, because you're not really doing community work.
They're scared. What they like?
well, we
I
all
mean,
know-
when you talking about really, I'm gonna just say this real quick, so Alexis, you're gonna when you talk about the churches, you know what I'm saying, the power of faith, the power of God, the power of the church, right? All that power, and y'all scared as hell to go out into the community and talk to people that look like y'all. Jesus wasn't scared. All the 12 disciples were damn near criminals and undesirables. You feel me? He took the undesirables and turned them all into holy disciples. You feel me? Well, not who
yeah,
preaching
you
now?
bringing the
Who
word
preaching
now.
now? You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, Jesus was walking around with himself. So how much fear did he have walking into these places? He couldn't have had none. I'm the son of God. What fear do I have for man? You understand? But y'all men with a congregation deep, probably 20 deacons, 40 extra pastors, 60 nurses, and y'all can't walk through your own hood and tell the word of God. Y'all cowards. Y'all walking with a powerful book and a powerful being behind y'all, and y'all scared. Let me tell you this. God brought me back from my thing. I ain't scared of nothing, and before that I wasn't scared of nothing. I ain't really scared of nothing now. Stand? Especially when you move in the right walk.
Well, let me say this. Alexis, did you have something
Well, no,
to
I was
say?
just going to say that, in the Bible it says that it doesn't dwell within walls. His ministry.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's the part I was getting ready to
Yes,
get at,
so
right?
Hallelujah.
Right?
Hey, y'all shoot that y'all.
It's when you hit them streets, right? That's God's true ministry. It's not what dwells within those four walls. So
Absolutely.
that's all I
And
was
for
gonna
the
say.
people who are listening that are in the confines of the four walls of the church, let me just drop this in your spirit. You looking at every week some people that get high, but they clean up well.
Say that. You might be looking at your
Sunday
pastor.
best, baby.
So, and let me say this. I know of a lady who had knee replacement surgery, and the painkillers were too strong for her, and she overdosed, a senior citizen. So while you playing, we also can come into the church. We can give naloxone training. You can have free naloxone on hand to pass out to your congregation, and we can talk about how else Narcan can be used. It's not just for somebody that's shooting up.
Absolutely.
That woman was a senior citizen, and the pain medication was too strong for her. She had the blue lips, the blue fingertips. That's a sign. And then a couple of doses of Narcan brought her back. So there are a lot of resources and education that can also be brought into the Highland Park community. We can train peer recovery coaches with the Connecticut Center for Addiction and Recovery. We are certified national trainers of that program. So we will come in. I'm hoping that Highland Park adopts this program, and we'll train peer recovery coaches for free, so that we can arm the community with people who understand what this is. But it's not a sobriety thing, and I have to repeat that. It is not a sobriety thing unless the person decides they don't want to get high. We really meet people where they are.
Say that.
We're not forcing them to do nothing that they don't want to do, because it's not going to work anyway.
Right. You touched on that story. The story you just told about the elderly lady that died from medical medicine, right? Not street medicine. So that is a thing too. People out here getting high on prescribed medications.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
You feel me? Over the counter medications, if you will. You know what I'm saying? And how would one receive over the counter medication? I didn't climb over the counter to get it. You understand? So that's another thing in itself.
And also, let's just talk about the fact of when you start talking about medical, right?
Right.
So all of a sudden we ended up in a opioid epidemic,
Right.
Right. So what you've done is that you created
Dope
more
fiends.
heroin addicts, right, and crackheads, because all of a sudden it started again affecting the white kids and the white children and the young adults, right? They started overdosing on the Norco and the Vicodins and things like that.
Yeah.
And so now all of a sudden we got this opioid epidemic, and you've just literally cut the black community off. I mean, there are people who are actually on pain management, right? Who needs pain management. But you said, oh no, we just assume because you're in a black area and you carry that black skin, you're out here doing something you don't have any business doing with the opioids that we're prescribing you. So now we just cut you off.
Right.
So now what do? They go to the street. And they go into that crack house. They go into that heroin place. You understand what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, this is a service that just doesn't, because we have more people who are suffering from not getting their opioids, right? Who are now on drugs than anything else in our community.
Would you say that the medical respect is creating extra fiends,
Absolutely.
people that need these type of medical
Pain management,
Yeah,
absolutely.
because they're either overdosing them or giving them. Because I know when I was in the hospital, they was giving me certain
Morphine.
morphine and pain,
Dilaudid, yeah.
and they Dilaudid, yeah, and my wife was like, yo. He don't need that. We don't want him to be addicted to that because the pains that I had, like my whole body was tore up.
Oh,
so I would have been popping and popping and popping and popping and
absolutely.
popping. And next thing you know, I would have been souped. I'm sitting over here, chewing a tablet while we doing this interview. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? So to me, like I said, man, it's this spider web that we looking at. It's like the evil is here, 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 the evil is here. You feel me? But if we cut all that out, the whole spider web is gonna fall, and the goods that are hanging there as well is gonna fall too. You know what I'm saying? So in my understanding of that, or me trying to tell this allegory, if you will, is the fact of that we have to find a way to cleanse the spider web instead of cut out. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I'm hoping with other partnerships that have transpired through this project. One is with Henry Ford, and they have this huge medical unit that they can bring out. And I can see right here at the shopping plaza, right here on Woodward, where they can pull up or wherever place you see fit in your city. But we have this health fair. And then I also thought about tickets for testing and to see if we could get some type of contract with Coco and say, hey, would you do a comedy show? But the only way that the
Coco, our
people
folks.
could
Folks.
get in, get tested, anybody.
Absolutely.
Because see, HIV is still killing us. I get heat maps, and let me tell you, it's hot over here.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
hot all around
It's
here.
hot in Inkster.
Absolutely.
It's hot. HIV has never went anywhere. We just stopped talking about it. Know your status.
Absolutely.
And so we need to get tested. So that's another campaign that we're going to be on, and we're hoping to use the tickets for testing to say, hey, and the only way you can get into the event is
If you get tested.
if you get tested. So you get tested before, and then you get the tickets, and you just show up on the day of the event.
Absolutely.
And so that's something that we would like to do as an incentive, but also we gave a Christmas party for our participants at the Stardust.
Okay.
Because they're not welcome to go in any other club and get a good meal and stuff. So we had, I'm calling it the Stardust. Roz, I'm sorry.
That was the Stardust, though.
Clayton's Kitchen
Oh, it's
is
okay.
owned by someone new. But you know what? I still
It was
call.
the Stardust. We used to rock there.
Exactly, but I still call the Floyd Simmons Center the Malcolm X because I'm so Inkster. So we gave them a appreciation, and that's something that I want to continue to do. Have some events and dinners and things of that nature so that they will have the chance to participate because they are our family.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So speaking of I'm so Inkster, let's go to that track, Marquise, because I can't give Highland Park all of this play and not give the Crooked Eye a little bit of love.
Shout out to the Crooked Eye.
We're going to play I'm So Inkster by Uda Dan,
Uda
and
Dan,
we'll
that's
be
my
right
man.
back.
Shout out to Uda Dan. That's my dog, too.
Thank you, Miss Valerie.
What's happening, man? You know what I'm gonna need you to do, man? I'm gonna need you to go upstairs to the window and let me know when the police coming. Every time they come from that way. So I'm just gonna need you to give me the bird call and let me know they this way. Yeah. Hold it down, man. Come on, folks. No, man. What's happening? You. Talking about, this one we got now, yeah. New, man. Talking about project. I'm so Saigon, thanks. I'm so Hey, man, in my eat down. Yeah, I'm so east town. That's what we say now. I'm so east town. Cause we don't play now. I'm so east town. Yeah, we spray them K-rounds. I'm so east town. Yeah, they finna play now. I'm so east town. That's what we say now. I'm so east town. Cause we don't play now. I'm so east town. Yeah, we spray them K-rounds. I'm so east town. Yeah, they finna play now. I'm straight up out of east town. Holding it down. I got the man of a lunatic smoking the pound. Oh man, just being counted for. sleep. Dog food got 'em itch your veins, can't even eat. I'm from the projects. Money, murders, and different prospects. Chasing the dream for the cream, and you can stop that. Remember the times and all them struggling grinds. Mama see they gone blind. Niggas losing they mind. I'm a gangster with a lot of gangster hits. I'm putting 10 on the back of your head. Yeah, the boy about gangster shit. I'm bomb locked to the Saigon. From CBT to the Middle East to the ATA. I'm all day. I really rap these ATA. I'm so ink time. That's what we say now. I'm so ink time. Cause we don't play now. I'm so ink time. Yeah, we say them K-Bombs. I'm so ink time. Yeah, they finna pay now. I'm so ink time. That's what we say now. I'm so ink time. Cause we don't play now. I'm so ink time. Yeah, we say them K-Bombs. I'm so ink time. Yeah, they finna pay now. I am from the town. Crooked eye boys. Lot of boys making noise. Yeah, I keep them paranoid. Got here in that microwave. 88 to make a way. Baby on a meal and my niggas still a make a play. Do the life and back in black. My niggas still a bring them back. Bad seed, fuck them big. Grammy in it, it's on freaks. Holy moly, goddamn. Remember when they gas him? Get in that bag. With a broom in his ass, getting bad. My corner hot, you either sit on the pot. You either live with what you got and try to make it to the top. Selling rock, cause on the first we all racing the clock. Little kids in the window with their eyes on the cops. I'm a cop, my 2 4 fast 6s and 8s. I'm from Emcee and my city show me how to move weight. Fuck a hate, you either roll or get rolled in the ditch. I'ma keep it real all the time. Emcee niggas don't snitch. We yelling, I'm so ink time. That's what we say now. I'm so ink time. Cause we don't play now. I'm so ink time. Yeah, they say them K-Rounds. I'm so ink time. Yeah, they finna pay now. I'm so ink time. That's what we say now. I'm so ink time. Cause we don't play now. I'm so ink time. Yeah, we spray them K-Rounds. I'm so ink time. Yeah, they finna pay now. The girl, she a bad mama jammer. Back in the days, the mama left that hood grandma searching fortune and fame. Up the dear city lane. Gunpowder, doing drugs, take the little soul train. Now rock the silver gold chain. Red cars, the big rims. Michael Jordan, Air Ones. Street legends on top of 10s. I wanna thank God for the blessing he gave me. All the time he saved me. Riding around with them babies. Shoot 'em up, 2, 2, 3. They don't really give a fuck. Stretch your luck. Now how your ass I can really get in touch. We played Henry Ruck. All the way in the dust. From Inc. to Road to Beat, baby, who gon' what? Wait up. But wait, one gon' run. The way I rep is a must. Wayne County, Midwest, I'm so real is us. But wait, one for one. Wait, the way I rep is a must. Wayne County, Midwest, I'm so real is us. We yelling, I'm so ink time. That's what we say now. I'm so ink time. Cause we don't play now. I'm so ink time. Yeah, we spray them K-Rounds. I'm so ink time. Yeah, they finna pay now. I'm so ink time. That's what we say now. I'm so ink time. Cause we don't play now. I'm so ink time. Yeah, we spray them K-Rounds. I'm so ink time. Yeah, they finna pay now. What's that? I remember. You remember? I know where I came from, man. It's Leach. Who the damn, man? Know what I'm talking about? 48141. I'm so Emcee. BGS South. No limit.
All right, so I had to give a little Inkster love, just a little bit, even though we're talking about HP. But, I love Uda Dan, and I'm definitely praying for him
Shout out
and
to
his
Uda.
son and his family at this time. What Supa was saying on that break was real, and that is, I don't think people really understand people. When I say people, I mean outside of our community and outside of the black community, because the white mainstream media is going to, I call it black exploitation.
Right.
And they're going to exploit us to the fullest to sell media spots,
Right.
to make
Right.
the news or whatever. But really, if you want to know the truth, our communities are some of the closest knit communities that you can see.
That's how that's how that's how, like, in Highland Park, man, this used to be like the most like hurtful thing to me, to just wrath over this city, right? Because in Highland Park, you probably one person away from knowing everybody, right? So we would have, beefs in the city. We would have people over on this block beefing with these people on this block. We had people over here beefing with these blocks. And then these people would beef and people would get killed, right? And then you end up going to the funeral and then finding out that the person that this guy killed, okay, this person killed this person, right? And then you find out that this person's uncle used to go to high school with this person's cousin and they was best friends. Or you find out that this person's auntie used to be cool with this person's sister. But the fact of the matter is we ain't doing nothing but killing our own family and cousins around here. So it's to be just the craziest mess that you see at these funerals, how connected these people in this city are once somebody kills someone. You know what I'm saying? But while they was alive, nobody wanted to make the connection. While we was at all these parties drinking, while we was at all these backyard cookouts, while we was at all these different events, nobody wanted to say, hey, little fella, this is my friend, and you might know her son or his little son, because all of us in Highland Park was nothing but the sons and daughters of the sons and daughters that went to the same schools, And like my uncle, I would hang out with some of my friends and they'd be like, yo, Soup, your uncle was such and such. My auntie used to go with your uncle in high school. Now, you see what I'm saying? And that repeats through the whole HP. You feel me? But we around here sharking each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then we find out how close we is at these funerals or at these little memorials. And then and then it's so heartening and it's hurtful that these individuals was beefing when they was damn near family. They should have been riding for each other.
Well, what you're saying brings about another point, because we talked about harm reduction and we talked about people using drugs, but a lot of people start using because of the trauma. It masks that pain.
Right.
Whether it's the pain of someone getting killed or the pain of someone being molested. Or whether they coming off prescription painkillers and have to replace it with something else, whatever it is. But mainly there's a lot of trauma in our communities, and trauma brings about drama.
AV, we was traumatized from the boat ride to this mother.
Yeah. Now let's not forget, and I still get seasick on boats, so that might have came down my DNA, because I still don't particularly care for them.
I'll feel for the Carnival rides.
So, let's talk a little bit. Let's shift this from harm reduction. First of all, I want to say thank you.
No problem.
I want to say thank you for bringing Alexis into the studio today. I really appreciated Alexis Wiley coming. She's been very active.
Miss Ramsey.
Ramsey.
Yeah,
Why do I always say Wiley? Wiley is the newscaster.
Yes,
I beg your pardon. Alexis Ramsey, because she was on the school board, and she's really trying to be active and help heal the community, because it's going to take all of us.
For sure.
A sick church can't save a dying world. So we're not going back down that road either. Sick church can't save a dying world. We got to save ourselves, and we can't keep running into that edifice to do so. Now, I'm not saying everyone, and I'm not saying every church, but I am saying we have a lot of churches in the community. So why do we have people sleeping on the street at night? Those pews could be open.
Right.
They can lay their head on there.
But we don't want to mess up the church. We don't want to open the church up like that, because, on Sunday, we're going to want those pews in this church to be looking a certain way, presentable, so we can get money from these people when they walk in for their prayers.
Well, you know what? I don't know. I don't have all the answers.
Yes, ma'am.
And I don't have all the solutions.
Yes, ma'am.
And I don't even know, I know how many people this program has helped right now. I appreciate even Van Buren Township saying, you know what? We want the program. Right. And you can't ride up and down Belleville Road and see nothing like what you see in the city of Inkster or Highland Park. But they realize true prevention is embracing it. They were not in denial, like, hey, well, nobody's getting high here, or whatever.
Because they're well-to-do and they're in their houses getting high.
And so they understood, like, you know what? We embrace the program. They modified their ordinance, and SOAR is up and running in Van Buren Township. So, I am hoping and praying that Highland Park embraces
for sure
this program in some way, whether it's a partnership with, I think you said Mitch Albom has a clinic. out here.
Yeah.
Alexis had a lot of ideas, so we can meet after the show and really strategize on what this looks like and how it can benefit. We definitely don't want to duplicate any services, so if there's some partnerships that's available that is a good fit with what we're trying to offer, that's good too. At the bottom of it all, the foundation for me as a person of faith is to save as many lives as I can.
Real talk.
Whether that's just sharing a testimony, how I've overcome an illness, or this harm reduction program.
I mean, but when you was talking about the harm reduction and how you just elaborated on it, and you was talking about, like driving in the car, putting your seatbelt on is harm reduction. You know what I'm saying? Watching out for somebody driving sporadic, that's harm reduction. So I'm looking at the whole thing of what SOAR does and what you do is you're just an expert safetyist. That's it.
Preventionist.
Preventionist, if you will. So to me, I am totally for it. You know what I'm saying? Like I was telling your audience, you know what I'm saying? I had the chance to sit down with you guys, you know what I'm saying, behind the radio, behind the camera, and see how passionate you are yourself, Val, about what you're doing. And just to meet your team, you know what I'm saying, and see how, passionate you all sell the same passion, you know what I'm saying, about helping people and about what you're doing and the things with the boots on the ground. Boots on the ground.
Yeah.
We're coming for your boots on the ground. It's the fact that y'all are there on the street to help these people. You know what I'm saying? To preach the word of God to these people, to have safe, instruments and things for them to use. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's like, you're a great protector of the community, and you're trying to show these other, pockets of what the extent of your protection too, because my thing is, if you can reach out to these people that are forgotten and shunned and shamed on, and you can make them feel better about themselves, we already changing the future of our community. We changing the parameters that's already been set by aiding those folks, because like Alexis was saying, it cuts out the crime, it cuts out a lot of different things, it cuts out it keeps them safe, it keeps the community safe, and it helps. Like, what can't they see? I mean, they was with shoveling dope down our throat. Now we with trying to keep people safe and protected while they doing it, and we supporting them so that they don't have to go out and do the ills and the vile things to obtain the stuff that they need.
Getting gutter water and all of that. Right. Supa, thank you for bringing up my marvelous team, because I couldn't do this without them. Mm-hmm. And you have a great team also, because your wife is a wonderful spoken word poet. And she wrote this piece called B. So I'm going to have Marquise cue that piece up. And so you're going to see a little bit of both
Shout
our
out
teams.
To the wifey.
You're going to see hear Native Child's poetry that she wrote called B, as it introduces the harm reduction street outreach team and the faith and harm reduction team of SOAR. So we are going to hear that piece right now.
If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But by all means, keep moving. Dr. Martin Luther King. On those days when you find it hard to keep moving, remember to keep moving. Remember to be king, be family, be freedom marches, be inspiration. Be your mother's pain turn poems. Be your mother's poems turn pain, be home, be hope. There is home for you and hope. Be peacekeeper, change. Be wise with what you change. Be storm clouds gathering, adding color to sky. Be sky, beautiful with dreams. Be dreams that live in the faces of daughters and sons. Be daughters and sons that dream and dream, keep dreaming. Be kinder than most, and pray, always pray. Be prayer, be struggle, but keep moving forward, always keep moving forward. Be God-centered, Be fueled by love. Be justice seeking and open minded, but be accountable. Be nonviolent, but be revolutionary. Be prophet and oracle of truth. And even when your gifts go unappreciated, you are appreciated. Be water protectors, soar, and keep moving forward. Be caterpillar, turn butterfly. Be phoenix born from ashes and flames. Be magic and mystery. Be atmosphere and particles, moving through space and time. Be timeless and steady like shadows at noon. Be sun-kissed, shade, but don't throw shade. Be student, be teacher, be answer to the right question, but be sure to answer the questions right. Be patient, be patient and soar, but by all means, keep moving, always keep moving.
Yow.
Always.
That was my wifey, Native Child Brown.
That's right. And she said, always keep moving. If you can't walk, crawl. That was deep. Because, see, SOAR uses the butterfly, not because it's just beautiful, because it's in that darkness, in that cocoon, before it completes that metamorphosis and those cycles of change until it can spread its wings and fly. And what people don't know is we see butterflies fluttering around, but when they reach full maturation, a monarch butterfly can go about 35 miles an hour.
a person can't run that fast.
Exactly. So we see people fluttering through life. Yes, when you come out of darkness, that may be what you do initially. But if you just have the opportunity for people to look at the uniqueness and beauty of your soul and your being, you too can soar. And so that's where the butterfly came from. And that's why I use the butterfly as the logo for the operation. I want to give a shout out to Pastor Velma Overman, who's watching this show right now on Facebook Live, because that was the one church we went to, and she said, you know what, I don't know about the complete program of harm reduction because I don't have complete say over what we do, but we can contribute. We will give you food. And they have been providing it for the Envision Center program that we do with the youth, and also whenever we go and ask. And she's been boots on the ground with us initially. I want to thank her because I truly appreciate the partnership and the collaboration, and at least for her understanding, instead of it being a hard no because this might not fly.
Right.
She said, let me tell you what I can do.
Let's go.
Until we can do something different.
Right.
And she never said like no and close the door. Like, we can probably look at it a little bit later, but this is what I can do right now. And I understand it because they have a huge youth focus in their congregation, like with the STEM and stuff. And we don't want to mix the two. Right. So I understood that. But I love her, I appreciate her, and I respect her. I see my cousin Katrina Johnson on there, and she is one of my biggest cheerleaders. I just thank you all. And please, for those of you that know the power of prayer and your prayers go through, pray about this program. And it's not about SOAR, and it's not that SOAR does it in every city. We don't even have the capacity to serve every city where it's needed, but we certainly can lay the foundation and share our lessons learned, our methodology, and how we chose to do things, especially with the faith and harm reduction, praying for people on the street and still giving them clean supplies.
Yo, that's dope.
So, you know, it's not about me. So, you know, a lot of people may not even like me because I'm outspoken or whatever it is. Please look beyond me and see that brother and sister that I'm trying to help, because this is not about me. It is about the people. And look beyond what your capacity and capabilities may be, because I have another saying, I can't help it if my floor is your ceiling.
Come on, Bird.
You know, so come on up out of the box and think outside of the box so that we can help these people that are hurting. If you do not have anyone in your family that is not even addicted to sugar, you should be happy.
Go ahead, look, V. You just you know what I'm saying. You went up here with it and you brought it way down
Because
here
it's the
so
truth.
People can get it.
Yeah, you need to get it. Addicted to bacon, sugar, pie. You know,
Addiction
television.
is addiction.
It is addiction. Is addiction. Is addiction. Is addiction. Television programming. It's called programming for work because you program some people. Oh, I got to get home at 7 o'clock. I got to watch my show. You program. You know, so let's put our differences aside. Let's put the love of Christ ahead of us and help these people who are on the street that need it.
Hey,
so,
hey, V, can I be real blunt?
You can.
Quit acting like y'all shit don't stink.
Okay.
Quit acting like you're just a perfect person that has not went through shit, tragedy. You know what I'm saying? Depression. Don't think like you have never been through, or people in this life is not going through the same shit you going through or worse. Because certain things drive people to do certain things. Just because you wasn't struck with that bad bolt of lightning that had your hair fall out and fried and you running around here doing crazy shit, that doesn't mean that the next person or 3, 4, 5 people down from you didn't get struck with that shit and that's why they spinning, or somebody in their family died, or somebody they lost, or any type of trauma. Because what I know, a seed of trauma can be planted in you today, and that shit'll turn into a tree by tomorrow, and then 10 years from now, you'll be living in a forest of your own traumas.
You better say it, because trauma is the root of most of the things that ails us. Suicide. You know, and we can even train people to be gatekeepers for suicide as a part of the programming that we're bringing to the city.
That's what my wife does.
Question. Yes, she does. She does.
She trained me to do QPR.
Yep.
Training.
So we do QPR. That's something we can also do. There are a myriad of things that we can come together and do, but it's an assessment of what the city needs.
For sure.
Right? I will stand by nothing for them without them. And the demographic of Highland Park is very close to the demographic of Inkster. But I'm not going to come and say because we're doing this in Inkster and it seems to be working that it's going to work in Highland Park. We want to know what Highland Park needs. And let's come together and look at strategic plans for cities like ours. And if we find out that there are more similarities than differences, then let's talk about that too.
It's a lot. And a helping hand is a helping hand. And I think the city officials that are listening to this program, or city officials that might see the recording of this program once we share it, you know, through all our social medias, I think this is something that Highland Park needs to get on. Mary Yop, if you listening to this, Rodney, Patrick, Miss Glenda, y'all need to really talk to Miss Valerie and the store company about this thing. Like I think from what I see in the viewpoint of my eyes, you know what I'm saying, I think this would really help the city, like for real, no lie.
Well, I appreciate your support. I appreciate you coming out in the field watching us, and also, you know, filming and using your expertise. Those videos are available on the Real Black Coffee No Sugar No Cream YouTube page. You will be able to see those. They're on our Facebook page. You can feel free to call me. My cell phone number, 734-218-1661. We can be in touch, but I will continue this conversation offline with Alexis and Supa, and hopefully we can bring some form or aspect of this program to Highland Park. But tonight I just wanted to bring awareness, and I wanted to bring some information, and I wanted some education around the aspect of harm reduction. Because see, when the fake news got out, Biden passing out crack pipes, you know, or whatever.
Whoa,
now
Biden
everybody
passing
just
out crack
losing
pipes.
it. He not passing out crack pipes. Harm reduction is a different type of methodology, and let's not try to ban it because now we're trying to get it in our communities. That's why I came to our communities first. Right? We need help. We need assistance.
Yes.
And even if he is passing out crack pipes, so what? So what? As we said, you know, we didn't bring the drugs and all of that into our community. So part of the solution and remedy should be in our community.
Right.
So is there anything you want to say as we get ready to wrap this up, Supa?
I just want to say, you know what I'm saying, I'm glad to be on the show. I'm glad you invited me, Val, you know what I'm saying? And I really, like, I'm really behind what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? I really am down to push that, you know what I'm saying, in the community and in other communities, because, you know, this thing of drug has become, it was a thing one time, right, that people just used to do, and then it became a culture, you know what I'm saying? And then it became, you know, generational, you know what I'm saying, to the point where, you know, it's just a way of life now. It's the game, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Even though that this game is sending, you know, our brothers and sisters to the boiling point, to the boiling room, you know what I'm saying, every time they get caught up in it. You know what I'm saying? So if something like this can reduce the fact that you might have somebody in your home stealing from you, or you might have, you know, somebody breaking in your stuff or doing something, like, if this can alleviate that, why shouldn't the community push it? You feel me? Because to me, it's like you taking away, or you're, you know, everything doesn't get actually taken away, but you're downing the big bulkiness of this problem. You know what I'm saying? You're taking the muscle out of this cocky monster, and you just look, now we can shape it and get rid of it as this takes place. You know what I'm saying? Because what you add into it is not just, you know, these supplies that they need, y'all adding faith base too. You know what I'm saying? So at the end, while y'all giving them help, y'all letting them know, if they didn't know, that God exists. You know what I'm saying? And you can go that route if you want to. We're just giving you different lanes and different ways that you can get out of your situation, and that is beautiful.
Well, you know, because they're not going to feel comfortable walking inside of the church. The ushers on the front line
gonna crucify you. They gonna be handing out crosses when they walk in. They gonna be like, "Oh, you're on this. Here's your cross."
Or acting like they afraid of them.
You know what I'm saying? Here's your cross. Here's your crown of thorns. Let me cut you on the side. Let me prick your hands up, and don't forget your 2 feet too. Put them together. Put one on top of them. Bam. String them up.
Well, you know, I definitely have seen a lot of things. You can't even sit on someone's pew where they normally sit. You know, it's an issue. It's just too much silliness and drama. But I will say this, from the hepatitis and HIV front, I had a brother. So I didn't meet my biological father until I was 30 years old, to find I was the oldest of 7 kids. Had a brother named Kenny. And Kenny was incarcerated when I was connected with my biological family. The first time I saw Kenny, Kenny was in a casket, dead. He succumbed to his illnesses. So I decided, like, okay, well, I'm still going to fly in. I hadn't met any extended family members, only my immediate family, my siblings, except for Kenny. And so I decided that I would fly in. So I did. We get to the church, and we were waiting so long to get inside of the sanctuary. The sanctuary was up a flight of stairs, and I couldn't figure out, like, why are we taking so long? Like, yeah, my nieces and nephews and all of them are up front, but still, the line should be moving. Well, when I got to the top of the staircase, the casket was in the back at the opening of the sanctuary doors on the outside. And I thought that was weird. I looked and I said, wow, this casket can fit through the doors and get to the front. Why is it here? That's really strange. But I didn't say anything. I went on and took my seat. My biological father is a pastor, and he eulogized my brother. And he said, I know a lot of you may think it's strange that the casket is in the back. But when my son was diagnosed with HIV and he came to this church, there were various people in this church who said, don't hug me. You got that stuff. And, you know, this, that, and the other. And he said, and I had to watch you ridicule my son in that regard. And after that, he said, my son cried and cried and said, Daddy, I don't understand. I thought the church was a safe haven, a place I was supposed to come, especially since you preaching here.
Woo.
So he would come to church 15 minutes after service began and leave 15 minutes before it ends so he can hear the core of my father's preaching and not have to encounter people. And so my father said, if my son was not comfortable coming in here alive, I'm not bringing him in here dead.
Woo. Now that's gangster.
And that's why he's by the back door. So more of that will come because we're going to reenact that and film a documentary, and it's going to talk about the black church and stigma. So we will be releasing that little docu-series sometime over the summer. So I'm going to close out with that and say, you know, thank you, Soup. If
No
it's
problem.
anything you want to say any further.
Hey, I just got a quick thing. I got this book out, right? I got
Okay.
this book out. I'm selling my new book or whatever. It's really like a book of my expressions and a book of my rhymes and you know, songs and stuff from my album that I dropped. It's called Super Emcee the Immortal. The link is on my my Facebook page and my Instagram if y'all want to buy it. And what's the sweet thing is, it's just, it's really like for the kids and for people that are into reading, you know what I'm saying, and into words, so they can understand fully what an artist like myself is doing when I get in the studio when I put these sentences together to make these songs. And it's real deep reading. So I would like everybody to support a young brother, you know what I'm saying, and cop this book. You know what I'm saying? It's just my expressions of immortality, the best way I could describe it.
And what is your Facebook page? How can they find you?
My Facebook page, I'm Kent Brown on Facebook. You can look up Super Emcee, SupaEmcee, and you could find me on Instagram. You can find me anywhere. Actually, you could Google me and I'll pop up. Like, I got Google all over, million. But the book is really for the culture of hip hop, because like back in the day, you would get a tape. Back in the day, we would go to the store, we would buy tapes, and the tapes would come with the sleeve on it, and you would open the sleeve up and you would get to read the lyrics that the rappers wrote, and then you would understand what they were saying, verbatim. So I'm just trying to bring that back to the game, with this book. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, you want to support a brother, support a brother.
Yes. Well, thank you. And I definitely will be supporting. So you have listened to another episode of The Real Black Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream, where I'm never trying to spill tea or make you feel dazed like you drank a shot of cheap liquor.
Let's go.
I'm just trying to make you see things from a different perspective. Mine, and be the change that you want to see in the world. So we're going to go out on Ready for Change by my cousin Millard Thomas of Run of the Mill Music
And
Group.
he is great. This guy is fresh, y'all. This musician guy is dope. He sings and he plays music. Man, this guy is dope.
So thank you, and we will see you all next week. Enjoy.
From the moment I met you, something whispered in my ear that you were the one. And I had won by merely becoming a contender for a prize that the world would surely envy. You were more than just beautiful and friendly. Cause see, I instantly wanted you to see the end with me. We